I've got good news and bad news, and I don't care which one you want first because I've already made the decision for you. I know the optimal order is always good before the bad. So big group hug in the shower tonight, let's hold hands and enter the smile zone together. One of the most annoying and degenerate pranksters the internet has spawned in recent memory has just been sentenced to 18 weeks in jail. His name is Mizzy, and for about a month he rose to internet infamy by doing some outrageously awful pranks. Basically, he'd just commit crimes and laugh about them while filming it, or he'd just make everyone's lives around him miserable. Just this plague of agony that swept through his local community to make everything a bit worse. I won't go through his entire resume of cringe, I'll just go ahead and give you some of his most embarrassing garbage, although in his eyes, this is his magnum opus, these are his greatest hits. So the big one that made him pop off online is when him and his friends would walk into random people's houses to just frighten them, literally just kind of breaking and entering. Then there was this one where he stole a woman's dog at the park and ran away with the dog. And then of course, who could forget the timeless classics, his iconic series here, where he would go up to strangers and ask them if they want to die. Him and his equally pathetic friends would occasionally put on ski masks and run up on strangers, ambushing them, trying to block their way, asking them if they want to die over and over again. So overall, pretty high quality, harmless, gut-busting comedy here from one of the most brain-rotted, clout-poisoned, delusional, attention-starved worms TikTok has ever seen. Mizzy was able to get his name out there for about a month with a lot of people dunking on him, clowning on him, roasting him. He didn't really have fans except for like maybe 7 or 8-year-olds that just liked the idea of being disruptive. But outside of that, it was everyone collectively just spitting on him. And then he landed an interview on a major television network where he made an absolute fucking fool of himself, and pretty much overnight, like a fart into the wind, his online presence vanished. Well, kind of. Everyone figured out the garlic to this vampire. The one weakness every clout-obsessed turbo loser has. Being ignored. Not getting attention. Collectively, most people just stopped paying attention to Mizzy altogether. He was just this little nuisance that would buzz around occasionally, pester people, and they just kind of disregard it. No one was talking about him anymore. It took away all of his power, like Voldemort's name. Like, no one cared anymore about how many times Mizzy would do something that would get himself arrested. They'd just be like, oh, okay, moving on. It's like pee into a public pool. You expect it, and it's gross, sure, but at the end of the day, out of sight, out of mind, you move on pretty quickly. So Mizzy stopped getting attention, and after this month of infamy, everyone forgot about him. But you know who didn't? The law. You see, Mizzy this entire time has still been striving to reclaim that former glory, which is so pathetic that he considers it success when really it's anything but. What he believes is his career would be anyone else's unimaginable shame. He lives in such a distorted reality that he believes everyone shitting on him is a good thing. For him, people just knowing his name is a W. That's a big fucking victory royale right there. Whereas the only reason people know his name is because everyone dislikes him. Like, his whole presence, his whole existence is to be disliked by people, and he is proud of it. That is a nightmarish way of living in this fucking world. I can't believe it, but that's whatever. It's his life, I suppose. If he wants to ruin it, by all means. So anyway, that brings us to today, where he has now been sentenced to 18 weeks in jail. He went to trial last month where he was found guilty on 2 charges of breaching a court order. And this court order is actually the most lenient shit imaginable. Basically, it asked him to stop filming people without their consent and posting it online. But this guy is an addict. Like, he can't stop scratching at his fucking neck to violate people's privacy, harass them, and then post it online for his content. He just has this inability to stop himself from being an insufferable asshole. This was the easiest court order ever issued. It was basically a don't be a douchebag order, and he failed. So now he's got 18 weeks detention in a young offender institution, and the judge told him, put bluntly, your pranks are not funny. which I think is a beautiful thing to say from the judge. Just scathing right to his face, cutting right to the core. Just like, hey, listen, just to be honest, you suck. Like, I need you to understand me here. You're trash. Like, you are actual ass. Your pranks are horrible. I don't know how you sleep at night. You're bad. Like, I think that is just so beautiful in how frank he is with that. So then he said that the 19-year-old's pranks were motivated by a desire to be famous and to receive money and designer clothes from sponsors, which is something Mizzy himself said, which is pathetic, truly just sad. And then the judge continues, your actions caused innocent members of the public significant harm and distress. You claimed on national television the law was weak, and now 18 weeks in the slammer for it all. I will say, I wish they had went a little bit harder here. This is someone who has shown no remorse over any of this, and after he gets out, I have no doubt he's going right back to this behavior. I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever. I even made a video 5 months ago going over just how little he gives a fuck about any punishment that might come his way. He's not going to let it stop him from just being a complete douchebag loser. So even though he'll spend 18 weeks in this detention facility, he's not going to stop this. This is all he seems to want to do with his life, is make everyone else's life more miserable and film it. So I don't think anything's going to change in the time that he'll spend away from society. I think he will come back and be just as annoying and degenerate as ever. That's my bold prediction on it, but no matter what, it is still good news, though, that he is finally receiving some kind of actual consequences for these actions. I think that is good news. That's something to make you smile. Now I'd like to give you some bad news. Colleen Ballinger is back. Colleen Ballinger made another apology video. This time, there's no music to it.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I've been gone for so long. I've really missed this. I've missed talking to everyone every single day. Obviously, the last video that I posted on here is really embarrassing, to say the least. I was being accused of some pretty awful things, and I just was mad, and I should have handled that situation with maturity and empathy, but instead I just let my ego take over, and I'm really disappointed in myself.
Now, it's been quite a few months since this whole thing happened. Colleen Ballinger, Miranda Sings, was accused of communicating very inappropriately with underage fans, talking about some really weird stuff with them, a lot of very not good things going on in some group chats with them. I'm not just going to go over the entire situation. I covered it back then. Tons of people did. But what ended up happening is, after all of these accusations came to light, she responded with a ukulele musical number that I think she was striving for a Grammy, which unfortunately she wasn't nominated for. She made a song, a real song to make you wiggle your finger to, called The Toxic Gossip Train, where she didn't address anything really, or like disprove any of the claims or defend herself. She just made a song. So this is now quite a few months later. She's now coming out and saying that that whole thing was embarrassing and that, you know, she regrets the way she handled it, should have handled it with maturity. But I'm going to say, you should never regret writing The Toxic Gossip Train. That song took the Billboard charts by storm. You made a bop. Like, what you should be apologizing for is what you've actually been accused of, and then actually maybe try and talk about that instead, as opposed to your ukulele song. Like, that's not the big problem here. That's not the huge stain that needs to be addressed. Yeah, the ukulele song was a bafflingly cringe decision to do that, but the real thing here, the actual meat, is about all the accusations with the way that you've communicated with minors over the years, and the group chats and like the sexual conversations you had with them about really awful and very weird things. That's what you need to actually talk about.
Over the last 15 years of my career, there have been moments where I was immature and inappropriate with some of my comedy, and there were times when I did not put enough thought into some of my fan interactions, and because of that behavior, people got hurt, and I am so sorry. I never wanted to hurt anybody, but it's clear that I did, and I feel so terrible about that. I also feel like there's probably people who are disappointed or feel abandoned by me because of my silence over the last few months. And I'm so sorry about that as well.
And this is just missing the mark, in my opinion. You're just giving a very vague response to a very specific set of awful allegations. By just delivering this blanketed, I went too far with my comedy, made some mistakes, hurt people, I'm sorry, you're not really doing anything besides just trying to move on from this as quickly as possible and hope that the bare minimum here is enough for an audience to stick with you. After she posted this fall vlog, she's now posted an additional, I think, 3 or 4 videos since now. She's doing daily posting again. So to me, this all just seems like, fine, I'll just reluctantly say I'm sorry. Hopefully an audience will stick around for a little bit, and I'm just going to start bombarding them with a ton of content to flood the rest of this out so that way people can just forget about it. That to me is what this comes across as. The accusations that have been made against her, as well as a lot of the things that have been brought to the public eye, are pretty awful. Like, it's not something that you can just, like, you know, wipe away with a statement like, it was just comedy that went too far and it was a mistake. Because, like, it doesn't seem like there was anything comedic about it, or even, like, supposed to be comedic about some of the things that have come out. It's just, like, pretty deplorable. Like, I feel like it warrants more of a direct tackling of what has been discussed and talked about. You know, like, just a more thorough explanation, I think, is warranted for the victims that have been affected by what you've done. This just seems very, like, I don't know the right word, but seems very disingenuous and sincere, perhaps, where it's just trying to do as little as possible so you can continue to try and have your Colleen Vlogs channel do daily content and have an audience.
So I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I create a positive, kind, inclusive, safe space online with my content. And if you want to be a part of my journey online, I would love to have you. And if not, I completely understand. I do not expect anyone to welcome me back with open arms. I don't expect to change anyone's mind with this video. I just wanted to come on here and say that I'm sorry, and I wanted to try to show people that it's possible for someone to grow and learn and be better after making mistakes many, many years ago. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to vlog again, and today I'm just gonna...
I cut out a little section in the middle there where she was talking about how, first and foremost, she's a mother, and she was explaining why she hasn't spoken on this sooner, and also that she's been trying to listen and learn from everything with what everyone's been saying. And then eventually it leads to this, where she talks about how she doesn't expect to change anyone's mind, but she hopes that she can try and prove that you can make up for past mistakes, and her path forward is vlogging. So then she transitions this apology into a vlog, which I think is a really weird decision to make. I don't know why you wouldn't make this 2 videos. I mean, maybe because the apologies is only like 3 minutes long and it's not specific, and it still doesn't even directly talk about any of the accusations. It just tiptoes around all of it. It really feels like the apology is more of like an avoidance thing, where she can just loosely talk around the subject and say that she's sorry for it without ever needing to explain herself or what happened or her actions or intentions or anything behind all of it. So it really seems like the intention was get the I'm sorries out and hope the audience is receptive to it and will stick around to watch the vlogs. And her gamble paid off. She was right. She knew her audience. If you read the comments, it's nothing but overwhelming support for her, and the views on her vlogs are great. So yeah, I'm still a bit stunned by the comments here. A lot of them are saying, this is what you should have said to begin with. We forgive you now. Now we understand. It's all good. What the fuck? She still didn't say anything. Like, did you even watch the video? She still said nothing. It's like, the second she said, I'm sorry, everything else went out the window as if it never even existed. She has still not even said anything about any of the actual accusations or anything about it. She just loosely said, ooh, those jokes didn't land. Bit of a mistake, and I know people got hurt. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, I guess she doesn't need to. She will, I suppose, continue to do just fine here without ever actually talking about all of these things. I really don't think you can just write off a lot of what's come out about the way she behaved around minors as just her being a quirky, zany jokester. Like, there's really no way of looking at it in any way that isn't weird. But whatever, I guess. Her audience has moved past it and forgiven her, so she's back to daily vlogging and will probably continue to do just fine. So yeah, I just wanted to give a little update here on some good and some bad news. That's really about it. So yeah. I've thrown on the formal attire today because we need to discuss something very important. A huge loser named Bintellect. Big goofball, weirdo, lame-mo, behemoth creep. He is a big TikTok creator, and that's a word I'm using very loosely here, with 11 million followers, and I'm sure only people under the age of 10 have ever heard of him before. What he's become known for over the years is looking at tweets or comments, reading them out, and then going, heh, yeah. That's literally it. But sometimes it's a little hard to even muster a laugh, so what he'll do is he'll read one of the comments and then go, yeah, true. And then that's the whole TikTok. But I'm not here just to give him a little wet willy and laugh at him for all of his cringe. I am here to talk about something far more degenerate. But before doing that, I'd like to give a quick honorable mention to something else this piss stain of a person is notorious for doing. Threatening legal action against people that make fun of him. I've seen a couple videos on Bintellect now after I've been informed of the situation, so I did a little digging. Apparently when people make fun of him, he gets super offended and will either try and copyright strike, take down the video, copyright claim it to make money from it, or even go as far as to just threaten to sue the person that made fun of him. You disgusting goblin, you make me sick. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Now, while I do think a legal battle with Benjamin over me making fun of him would be hilarious, I still just don't really feel like showing you any of his clips because it's just going to rot your brain and it's yucky. It's just trash. So, no reason for that. Let's get into what I want to discuss, the new information that came out about this weirdo. So, Bintellect recently made a podcast, I suppose, and he invited someone on named Jordan Max, and then things got really odd. He got super hostile, and she ended up posting about it, which led to this dam breaking, and we were flooded with cringe about Bintellect's behavior over the years with women. So this horny little goblin asks her before going on the podcast, do you want to make a video for OnlyFans? To which she says, when? He says, today. And then she's saying, no, you need to be tested within the last 14 days and have an OnlyFans creator account. But then he says, I mean a video for your page. Oh, what a benevolent saint. He was actually just thinking about her the whole time. He thought this would be a good opportunity for her to make some OnlyFans content with the great Big Bintellect. So she says, doing what? And he goes, I don't know what performs best on your page. I can literally see him doing this. Well, I mean, I don't know what we do. I mean, what do you do on OnlyFans? Maybe we could do that? So it's become pretty clear that Bintellect uses this podcast as a way of just fucking. It seems to me like the whole podcast existence is only here as a way of trying to get Bintellect laid. So he tries to leverage his big follower count to then invite on OnlyFans models and then ask if he can make content with them. It's pretty pathetic stuff, but we're only just beginning. He continues by saying, I was just thinking you're helping me with doing a video for my YouTube, so maybe I could help you with your OnlyFans. And she replies, I'm good, thanks. So then he goes, no worries. And then, hey, I'm going to do the pickle video with someone else, thanks though. To which she asks, why? So the pickle video he's referring to is the podcast was going to be a pickle tier list mukbang or something like that, a pickle mukbang. And it was her idea, it was Jordan's idea, and he's now kicking her out because she declined to do an OnlyFans video with him. So his answer to why was, to be honest, I thought it would just be fun to film and see where things go, but I got it. So he gets real sad and pitiful, like, no, I get it. I just thought it'd be fun, but clearly it won't be fun. I'm gonna do it with someone else then, how about that? So he goes real Neanderthal mode here. My wiener no get wet, we no eat pickle together on podcast. Goodbye. How dare you not do OnlyFans video with Bintellect? So then he says he's doing it with someone else. So Jordan, of course, gets really weirded out by this exchange. She posts it on Twitter, and then Bintellect himself, the man, the myth, the legend, reaches out in DMs to threaten to sue her if she doesn't take down the post. She even did a video proving that the DM is real from the real Bintellect account, just to 100% silence any possible doubt. Also, her response to it is great. She said, I will just be waiting to hear from your lawyers then, which is hardcore. Obviously, Ben's not going to sue her. I don't think he's ever actually gone through with a lawsuit. He uses it to try and bully people to do what he wants. To do what he wants them to do, rather. So, I don't think any lawsuit was ever coming. This was just a last-ditch Hail Mary from a desperate, lonely guy to try and get rid of the evidence of him being a creep. So, that was the whole interaction between Bintellect and Jordan, but after this tweet started popping off, well, the series of tweets started popping off, she then started getting DMs with more screenshots and more evidence of Bintellect doing this to tons of different women. This comes from someone else who had a very similar experience to Jordan. So Ben opens with, "Do you work tomorrow?" They say, "Crazy busy day, but I don't work." And then Ben goes, "Let's make some content tomorrow." Not like that, but just film a podcast. So he immediately alludes to like, oh, not OnlyFans type content. I'm talking about just a wholesome podcast, one the whole family can enjoy. Doesn't get an immediate response, so he goes, "What do you think?" He then waits about 2 hours more and he goes, "You're killing me, gorgeous." So fucking embarrassing, Jesus Christ, that's so fucking awful to read. Yucky. And then he gives her about 3 more hours and then he goes, "You know what, I've been thinking about this OnlyFans thing, and I think I could make us a lot of money, straight up." And then she finally does reply saying that she's just been busy taking a mental health day. So he can't even go more than like 3 messages without bringing up OnlyFans. It seems like the only thing on this guy's mind is sex, and how he's never getting it, I guess, but is very desperate too, and will do it by any means necessary to try and achieve coitus. From everything I can tell, Bintellect has never done any kind of OnlyFans content on his own, or like any type of explicit content. He's just a professional TikTok giggler. All he does is giggle at Twitter messages or comments, and that's it. So clearly he's not wanting to dip his toes into OnlyFans for the sake of becoming like an OnlyFans creator. He just wants to have sex with these women, and he's using his podcast as a vessel to try and do that, it seems. After she told him about the mental health day she was taking, he responds with, "Hey, thank you." And then the following day at 6:52 a.m., so this guy must have been up all night masturbating, because it seems like that's the only thing on this dude's mind, he sends her a message saying, "Do you want to come over tomorrow night? Actually, are you down to come over tonight? Or are you just a flake?" Doesn't even give her time to respond, just immediately gets combative. He immediately just goes into fucking ballistic bin mode. "So you coming over tonight, or are you just a flake? Huh? Are you just a fucking succubus? Huh? Is that it? Huh? So you coming over tonight?" And then he waits only like an hour and 40 after that, and then he's like, "You know what? Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry, babe, but you're just too much of a flake. Bye." So then obviously she's like alarmed, like what the fuck is going on? So she says, "You know, if you wouldn't have texted me so rudely calling me a flake after 1 day of not texting you, you might have stood a chance. I can see why you're single now. Goodbye." Which really just sends Ben off the rails. "Yeah, whatever, go fuck yourself," says the girl who's trying to make an OnlyFans. Good luck. Brother, all you talk about is trying to do OnlyFans content with them. It seems like you're trying desperately to get into OnlyFans but keep getting rejected and can't handle it. So how can you have the gall to try and shame them for it when you are desperately trying to do it yourself? Here's a wacky little Snapchat one. "Do you want to come over here and spend some time with me? Because on a side note, I do think I could probably make us some money on OnlyFans. Bintellect fucks crazy into oblivion." That's redacted right there, like a CIA document. I really wonder what he said. I think it's Bintellect fucks crazy pussy into oblivion or something. But I'm just going off of what I can see poking out from underneath the redaction. I think that's what it is. But this is so goofy. He's speaking about himself in the third person in this one. And then he even tries bribery. "If you come over, I'll give you $1,000. I just really want you." And they respond, "I'm good right now. Don't try to bribe me with money. That's weird." And then he's like, "Yeah, no, that is weird, but I want to see you." This one's a lot more vintage Ben, so this was a different kind of relationship these two had as opposed to just the podcast OnlyFans hustle he keeps trying to run. So they start by saying, "I guess it's just not meant to be." Ben says, "Facts, no hard feelings, but yeah, it ain't working." So then they part ways, or so it would seem. Ben has a couple of parting words here. He says, "For your future self, if you're going to turn around on a guy and say, 'Hey, I'm not down for friends with benefits shit,' just say that before you go through all the bullshit. Boring as fuck. Not my problem that you turned around and quit drinking because you're an alcoholic and now pass out at 8 p.m. Fucking peace out, bitch." So Ben really, he went crazy. Ben lost it. This man, he was punching pillows, sending these texts with tears in his eyes, and he got real nasty. They respond to it saying that they're far from an alcoholic, and then Ben just keeps going crazier saying, "No, you're an alcoholic, and you're full of shit." And then he's like, "Anyway, I'm done. I just had to say that because you're full of shit." They respond saying that they weren't interested in being with Ben, and he should have taken the hint a while ago, but then Ben he goes absolutely berserk again. She says that she's wasting people's time and that she needs to just shut up and go to bed. And then she says, it sounds like you need some anger management help, which is a very fair assessment. I think he desperately needs some assistance with this anger management. And then Ben tries to flip this shit around like, how dare you? Are you kidding me? So he goes, be careful who you say that to, Maria, because there are people who really need help with that. So Ben lets out a gasp. That's super disrespectful to say that to somebody, and also a very basic-ass bitch thing to say. Benjamin, it's a very fair thing to say here. It's not disrespectful. You legitimately need some help. It very much seems like you do. So then he goes, there's a reason you've been single for this many years, and it's because no one wants you, and no one cares about you. You're full of shit. Basic, boring loser. He just goes on, and even has this little monologue here that ends with him saying, God help any guy that you gets involved with that loose pussy because you're just lame. Mic drop ho. This guy just typed out mic drop ho. He just typed that out. He's over 30 years old. I think he's like 34 years old or something like that. I already forgot. This is a 30-something-year-old man, and he just typed out mic drop ho. To which she responds, I'm sure your TikTok fans will love the way you talk to women when I post these screenshots. And then he's like, you know what? Good luck. I stand by every single word that I just said to you. So, did he stand by every single word that he said? Let's look at his initial apology, which he deleted pretty shortly after posting it, and then also hid replies on. Let's look at his first apology. I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations. I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women. If that's not the biggest red flag immediately, I don't know what else is. I stand by the rights for all humans, and that does include women. Those creatures. I am including them in that statement because that's the kind of angel I am. It makes it sound like he's drawing a distinction between women and every other human on the planet, like they're a totally separate species that aren't included in humanity. What an absolute incomprehensible weirdo. I grew up in a home with 3 sisters and no brothers, so I learned very early on the importance, power, love, and abilities women have. They deserve to be cherished and uplifted and treated with respect, and that's how I live my life. I do not condone the statements or accusations that have suddenly been hoisted upon me, and I hope to speak to anyone who feels they have been wronged. He's actually going with I have sisters. I can't hate women. I have sisters. No. I have 3 sisters. You guys don't understand. I could never do this to women. Like, you're misunderstanding. These are all baseless accusations. I have 3 sisters. I legitimately cannot be mean to women. And not only do I have 3 sisters, but my mother is also a woman. So you should see how ridiculous these claims are now, knowing this context with my 3 sisters and mother. So that should hopefully clear up all of the air here with these accusations. Like I mentioned, he did delete this apology post, but today he did release a new apology on TikTok. He released an apology video, so let's take a peek at that. Also, Ben, I know you're still watching. You probably plan on suing me if I show your apology video because you've employed this tactic before against other YouTubers. If they've shown clips of your content to make fun of you, you allege that it's stealing your work and you have a legal ground to take it down and come after them. You don't. That's not how that works. Me showing this is not any kind of violation in any way, shape, or form. So if you do try and sue me or copyright claim this video, copyright strike the video, anything like that, I will 100% respond with every single option at my disposal in order to follow this legal case through to its fullest conclusion. So let's check out your apology, brother.
Hey guys, there's a lot being said about me on the internet right now, and I just wanted to clear the air. The first thing I want to say is I'm sorry to anyone that I've made feel uncomfortable.
I love how nonchalant he is about this whole thing, just trying to downplay the situation. Like, if I made any of you feel a bit icky, a little uncomfy, I'm super sorry. That wasn't my intention. You must have misunderstood. It's not what I'm about. When in reality, he would snap, get aggressive, hostile, combative anytime he was denied sex.
I want to say to any girl who I've been rude to, whether through text or in person, that I'm sorry. I understand that me being sorry does not excuse that kind of behavior. I will continue to work on myself and do better. Thanks, guys.
Behold, the first AI ChatGPT written apology. This just ticked every basic box. There's really nothing of value here at all. Just like the quickest, weakest apology, and he's just gonna go forward doing his little, look at this tweet. Like nothing ever happened. So that's kind of where everything's at. Dog shit apology, dog shit situation. This guy is a big old loser. So let's use this as a learning opportunity for anyone watching. Don't be like Bintellect. That's really about it. See ya. Right now, there's a Twitch streamer getting tomatoes thrown at him all across Twitter for a clip that's going viral of him having an embarrassing and horrible response to one of his community members answering a question that he asked them.
In Spanish, and it's chef's kiss. All right. Curvy, where the fuck have you been? Oh my God. Well, tell you what, Miss Dirty Curvy, you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to talk about it in my chat because it's Friday, and that is a whole big bucket of bummer.
And his response is a big barrel of butt cheeks. So to give context to this situation here on the lore, this was a regular viewer of this streamer, an avid supporter who had taken a bit of a hiatus and was unfortunately going through a very hard time with her mother passing. So, when he saw that she was back, he asked her, "Oh, where have you been?" To which she just answered honestly, her mother had passed away, so, it was a bit of a tough time. That's why she was taking a break. And then for some reason, this must have input a cheat code into the streamer's brain that just sent him into, like, debate club. He, for some reason, then just goes into, like, this TED Talk about how you shouldn't answer his question if your answer is something sad, because it brings down the vibes of the stream. It's baffling, because you had asked her, and she just answered your question honestly. I'll play a bit more of the clip before getting into it, but I want to make it clear early on that I understand a lot of streamers have a similar perspective where you don't really want someone in chat that's just talking about like a really traumatic experience they're going through, because it's not really the place for it and the streamer's not the therapist. Like, I do get that perspective, but there's a difference between like just a random person treating Twitch chat like it's their psychiatrist and you asking someone a question and them answering honestly, especially when it's a member of the community that you already kind of know to a certain level. I don't understand why you're all of a sudden getting mad at them for answering that.
And I'm sorry for your loss, but we're not doing that in my fucking chat. Thank you. Well, okay, Miss Dirty Curvy, you said, no, that's fine. You asked, so I told. No, I didn't ask you to tell me the biggest fucking bummer news in the world. I said, hey, what's up? How are you? You know what? Let me give you a little bit of a lesson, Miss Nerdy Curvy. When something really, really bad is going on in your life, and in a public forum, someone asks you, hey, what's up? How are you? There are two acceptable responses. Good, and you know what? I'll make it through. That's it.
So you want to just talk to NPCs that only have two dialogue options. Okay? Then why bother trying to communicate with a human being? Like, okay, give them a script. Make sure your community has the acceptable answer script to my stupid questions. I don't actually care where you've been. And, like, just tell me one of these two canned responses. Like, this is so fucking dumb. And I also love the audacity. Let me give you a lesson here on how to handle my questions going forward. It's just so laughable that he's acting like some kind of social savant here about how to handle public conversations and what you're allowed to say. You're a fucking Twitch streamer, man. All of us as streamers are not exactly the most socially gifted. Like, let's just face the facts here. So why are you trying to act like the authority on the matter here, as if you're some kind of social guru who's now giving a lecture to your community about what is and is not allowed in a public conversation? It's fucking goofy. It's very silly.
How are you? Good? Or, you know what? I'll make it through. Awesome. Love to hear it. See, there you go. Or Prom's response. Yeah, I said, Prom, how are you doing? She says, I'm alive.
You know what's just as easy as those two responses is you being able to respond with some level of empathy like, oh man, that's terrible, I'm sorry to hear that. Or, damn, that's awful news, stay strong. Or, man, shit, that's terrible, hopefully today's stream can lift your spirits a bit. Like, you also have equally easy responses to, like, instead of dwell on the negative here and for some reason try and shame her for answering your question honestly. You could have just as easily had a very simple and empathetic response to it and moved on from it. But instead, now you're putting all of it on her and blaming her for bringing down the entire atmosphere, as if she somehow forced you to enter your goofo mode here, your insano style tantrum that you're throwing. Like, it is your fault. You could have either not asked the question if you didn't want like real answers, or you could have had some level of empathy and just given like a general decent response like, damn, awful news, sorry to hear that, stay strong. And then just go about like a good vibe stream. Like, it's super easy.
Oh, I asked you where you were. Look, Mr. Curvy, I'm just subtly trying to tell you that unloading really heavy news in people's chats on Twitch is not like good etiquette. It's not the place to do it. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Heavy news like that, when someone asks, hey, where have you been? You don't need to tell them, well, my dog died, my husband left me for a younger woman, my house burnt down, and my car got stolen. So I've been a little bit busy. That's why I haven't been around. Because it's like, oh, God, like, ugh.
Oh, God, your bad news is making my easy job just a little stressful, because now I've heard your fucking bad news, like, ugh. Like, can you have some level of shame? Can you stop having bad things happen to you and then share it with me when I ask? Like, fuck. God, where do you get off? What a stupid perspective, bro. What are you talking about? That's not even what they did. You asked them a question and they gave a simple response to it. Now, for a little further context, she, in her first response, accidentally led with, like, a laughing emotion. So she led with, like, LMAO because she was responding to, like, a joke he had told and then answered his question about her mom passing away. She got a little concerned that it was going to be misconstrued like she was joking about that. So then she clarified again that, no, like, it's just been a rough time. It's just been horrible. So she said it, like, twice or 3 times in total, but it was never to dwell on it or try and treat him like a therapist or treat chat like it was a self-help subreddit or something. She just answered his question but didn't like her first answer because she thought it might get misconstrued, so then just said like, no, it's just been bad, and that's where it was. She didn't try and like keep pressing it further or anything. For some reason, he did. He took it and ran with it and made it an overwhelmingly negative thing and then shamed her publicly in front of the entire community for it, which is so fucking weird and terrible thing to do. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I do understand the perspective of not wanting your community to treat it like it's like a therapy session where they're dropping really heavy things going on in their personal lives into the Twitch chat or asking you to solve the problems for them. I do agree that that is just not the time nor the place, and that's not going to help the person either. That's not going to help them or anyone else around you that needs like professional help and someone to actually be there and qualified to give real helpful advice to that person that's struggling. And Twitch chat is the last place you'd want to go for anything real. So I do agree, like, that is never a good case, like that's never a good situation to be in, but that's not the situation this streamer was in. He had asked a community member that he knew a question, and it was a personal question. Where have you been? Now I'm waiting for your answer. And they explained, well, it's just been a bad time because her mom had passed away. And that's it. She didn't like keep going forward about it, like to try and like make it all about what she's going through. She just answered his question point blank. And for some reason he went off the rails about it.
Like, you know, like if someone asks like, hey, what's up? Where have you been? And it's heavy, just be like, I had a bunch of shit going on, so I've been lying low for a little while. Got it. That's it. I'm not trying to rip you a new ass.
Yeah, not trying to rip you a new ass, just trying to embarrass you in front of the entire stream. The lack of self-awareness here. Buddy, that is kind of exactly what she did, but instead of just saying, I've got some shit that I'm going through, so I was lying low, she said, well, family member passed away, so I was lying low. That's it. She didn't continue to, like, go through the nitty-gritty on everything that happened. She did almost exactly what you said, but was a little more specific on exactly what that shit was. But in essence, it's the same thing. Would you have still melted down if she had said, I had a lot of bad, horrible things happen, so I was laying low for a bit? I don't think so. You probably would have just given a normal, like, decent human response like, man, sorry to hear that. Hope that shit clears up soon. Why couldn't you have had that same level-headed, rational response to her just being a bit more specific with what that horrible thing she was going through was? She didn't just dump everything on you and expect you to, you know, like coddle her or do something special. Like, she just answered your question. So this is where the viral clip ends, but he did have a response to this, and it's really worse than you're probably imagining. But before getting to his response, I want to hit you with a bucket of cold water to shock you with some statistics here. 93% of all Twitch streamers pull less than 5 viewers, so anything more than 5 immediately puts you in the top 6.7% of the site. These are old numbers too. These are from 2021, so I imagine this is only grown. So why am I bringing this up? Well, because the streamer who right now is catching more tomatoes than the goddamn Heinz ketchup factory is not a huge streamer. At least not by most people on Twitter's definition of a big streamer. He has around 55 average viewers, and to put that in perspective, that does put him in the top 1% of Twitch, at least based on the numbers I'm seeing. Because again, the vast majority of streamers are streaming to actually 0 people. Crickets. You have better luck getting your old high school classmates to watch your Facebook live stream than you do getting found on Twitch and starting a community from nothing. So everyone that's just writing him off as a nobody and fuck small streamers, who cares what they are saying or what their opinion is, I hate that perspective, and I will always hate that perspective. The mentality around numbers is so, like, fucked up these days that they can't recognize how big of a number 55 average viewers is. Like, yes, it's not the biggest streamers on Twitch, but that's still a pretty large number when put in perspective with how big the market is and how saturated it is. But this ties into the bigger point I want to make on the back of those numbers. The market being as saturated as it is, carving out a community being as tough as it is, the last thing you want to do is fuck it up, which is exactly what this guy has just done. He's currently streaming right now with like 140 viewers, which is more than he normally averages, but I imagine the majority of this is hate watchers hoping to just shit on him in the chat. And I've already seen it from a couple of his subs. Some people were saying how disappointed they were in him. And that's a really big deal, because when you have a really tight-knit community, once the viewers start feeling like you don't actually give a fuck about them at all, or that you're kind of a piece of shit, they probably won't stick around because there's so many other streamers that they'll just go to. So this will potentially end up being a huge problem for him. His first response was this on Twitter, where he's just taking full responsibility for being an asshole, which I guess is fine. Like, he's just saying, yeah, I just was a real piece of shit here. But then 12 hours later, he made an apology video and doubled down on everything from his initial Twitter clip.
Firstly, it is well known in my channel that I do not tolerate heavy news, drama, or trauma dumping, if you will, being entered or dropped into the chat. This has been discussed and explained and made clear many times while I've been live over the last 4+ years that I've been on Twitch. The people that come to my channel often, they know this. They see it all the time. So that's something that I want to make sure everyone understands.
He directly blames her for violating his terms of service for being a chatter, basically, saying, I have very strict rules, you're not allowed to kill vibes with bad news or anything drama-related or heavy. Okay, then don't ask questions that could potentially lead to, like, someone being honest with you, man. Not everything in the world is going to be sunshine and rainbows. So why ask a question to your viewers that they might just be open about if you don't want to actually hear it? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, and why are you blaming her? You're fucking blaming the victim here in this situation. What a terrible look. When you had already in your previous tweet sang a very different tune, where you're like, yeah, this one's kind of on me, I was a douchebag. What changed? All of a sudden now, you woke up this morning and you feel like you're not a douchebag, you're a superhero. In fact, she's the villain because she didn't follow your strict chat rules.
This is not the first time that she's violated the expectation that people not share heavy news in my channel. The frustration from having her argue in chat that she was, quote, just answering my question, even though she's been spoken to about this type of thing before.
Calling this an apology is a disservice to apologies. He is literally just justifying his reaction and saying it's all her fault. She violated our expectation of her in chat and then said she has a history of doing it. And in her statement, one of her twitlongers, she clarifies a bit deeper on what he's talking about. And he's pretty misleading with the way he portrays what happened here. Again, you asked her a question, she answered it. So the quote, I was just answering your question, is very accurate because that is all she was doing, man.
Frowned upon. Dude, I'm getting follows right now. From Joe JCKS, Brochacho, welcome to the channel, dude. Thanks for the follow. Yeah.
He even acknowledges that maybe he should edit that out and then decides not to. You should have edited that out. That's what a big yikes moment there. In your fucking apology, not an apology, in your blaming, pointing the finger video, you get a follower, take a moment to say thanks for the follow and like just call out the follower during this. What a bad look. How could you not recognize that as a potential problem? But regardless, the actual video he has made here is not a good response. It is somehow even worse than the initial one with the doubling down and trying to justify it. Like, just have an obvious common sense level-headed response like, yep, I overreacted, this was stupid, I shouldn't have done that, I don't even know what I was thinking, I must have just been in a bad mood. Like it was just so easy to move on from this, but instead you doubled down and now you look real silly for it. That's about it. So yeah. Yeah, so I think the YouTube makeup or beauty community, I'm not sure on the proper nomenclature, is just fucking terrible right now. You can tell just from looking at me that I'm not big into the makeup or beauty world, but I do like to keep my cheeks spread so I can stay updated and filled in on information on YouTube drama, and the makeup and beauty side of all of that never has any shortage of that. Taddy Westbrook released another 40-minute video today, which is supposed to be some kind of pseudo-apology and explanation for why she tried to ruin James Charles's life last year. And it's pretty fucking rough. It's like having a hemorrhoid. It's kind of painful. It's pretty boring. Really, the only purpose this video would serve is if you have insomnia and need help falling asleep. It is unnecessarily long. Like, this whole thing could have been summarized in 1 or 2 tweets if she wanted to. I don't really know why it's 40 minutes long. And it's her reading a legal statement that she's prepared, and it's pretty fucking painful. It's like she's reading the terms and conditions when signing up to Spotify. In fact, I wish it was just 40 minutes of Taddy reading the terms and conditions when signing up to Spotify. It'd be more genuine and engaging. This has every cliche of a YouTuber apology, a lot of fake crying, and a lot of passing the blame and deflecting. She keeps talking about how terrible Shane and Jeffrey were for this whole thing, and that it's really just kind of mainly their fault and she was just an innocent victim of their manipulation. But really the whole video just feels pretty manipulative from her here as well. I'll show you an excerpt, a couple excerpts from it, just so you get an idea of what the entire 40 minutes is like.
I promised my dad I wasn't gonna cry. I've been trying to feel... Can't do this. I've been trying to feel strong enough to do this video because I want to feel strong. I never said that James Charles was a danger to society. My video was not made with any malice.
But you did. That was the whole purpose of your video last year, was painting James Charles as a menace to society and some kind of evil supervillain. You saying you didn't post that video with malice is like me saying 5'6" isn't short for a man. It's just a lie. It's a lie I'm telling myself, and I've convinced myself. I know I'm short, Taddy. You don't need to rub it in. This whole video is just useless. It's been nearly a full year since you soaked up roughly 5 million subscribers off your video lying about James Charles. Why are you coming forward with this now? What the fuck is the point? Handle it privately. It is a matter that should have been handled privately. But for some reason, there's so many huge egos in this beauty and makeup community where they have to feel like everyone loves them and they present themselves as this perfect person, this benevolent ruler of all things beauty related. So she felt compelled to make this video to try and put herself in the best light. Like, hey, look at me taking responsibility for this thing that happened a long time ago. Look at how good of a person I am.
I did not publicly air any of the horrific accusations that were being made behind the scenes. While I was definitely upset that he had accepted a sponsorship from the biggest rival to my brand, Halo Beauty, I did not make my video because of vitamins. I made it as a result of all of the poisonous lies that were fed to me by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star.
Yeah, this is what I think the actual purpose of this video is, just to deflect blame off of herself and place it onto Shane and Jeffree. I didn't want to make that video about James Charles. I was manipulated into it by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star. They were the puppet masters, and I was simply the marionette dancing for them. They fed me these poisonous lies, and I had no choice but to make this video lying about James Charles of my own free will, and post it of my own free will. It's just silly. Taddy is nearly 40 years old, and she knows what she's doing. She knew what she was doing with the James Charles situation, and I really think the only reason she's made this video breaking her silence about all of it is because right now Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are getting absolutely annihilated, just straight fucking blasted for a ton of terrible, awful things they've done in their past, and Taddy wanted to dogpile on top of it to score some subscribers off of the drama and present herself as the good person in the situation. How she was innocent in the James Charles case because she was getting fed lies by these two people who everyone hates right now. But that excuse doesn't really work because the thing you were initially mad about in your first video was the fact James Charles took a different vitamin sponsor than your company or whatever the fuck you sell, vitamin C cream to rub on the rim of your asshole to improve hearing. I don't know what the fuck your businesses do. But you were mad because he didn't go with your business and instead looked elsewhere, so you felt personally attacked, and wasn't that like one of the main points you made? That has nothing to do with any lies Shane and Jeffree may have fed you. That was entirely your decision to make that like the focal point of the last video on why you were so mad at him. At least I think. It is so hard to even know what the fuck the drama is with Taddy. Watching her 40-minute videos here is like having a mediocre dream where you wake up and can only remember bits and pieces of it. By the time you finish one of these Taddy videos, you forget you even watched the video. It's like you got hit by a Men in Black neuralizer and just forgot the whole thing. It is so fucking boring, and she's terrible at even making her points clear on what she's trying to say or what is even actually going on. It just seems all so vague. And in this video, she doesn't take really any responsibility. She says I'm sorry multiple times, but none of it even feels real because it's sandwiched in between. But remember, Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star are bad, and they made me do these bad things. And her having these fake crying episodes in the apology and saying things like, I'm sorry, Dad, I promised you I wouldn't cry. I promised my dad I wouldn't cry? What the fuck? You called your dad on the phone? Hey, Dad, you remember that time that I tried to ruin the life of a young man? Yeah, well, I'm finally going to apologize for that, kind of, and look, I'm going to do my best not to cry. I'm going to try and be strong, alright? For most people, Taddy, saying I'm sorry isn't a feat of strength and bravery. It's common courtesy as a fucking human being to take responsibility for something. I've never understood the perspective where people pat someone on the back for saying I'm sorry or that they're wrong. I think that should just be human nature. When you are wrong about something, you say, look, I fucked up, and this was wrong. Okay, good. That should be what's expected. You can say, thank you, hey, thanks, I'm glad you took some responsibility. But to make it feel like it's some kind of Herculean task to say you're sorry is just such a bad look. The makeup community is just so full of narcissists. Taddy starts this video like, hey, I know you guys haven't seen me in a little while, even though it's only been like a month and a half. Hey, I know you guys have missed me so much because I'm so great. And look, I'm really sorry you haven't seen as much of me as you want to see of me, and you deserve to see more of me. And then she gets into the video. It's just, I just don't get it. I don't understand why people in the makeup and beauty community follow people like this that clearly just don't even care about them and just view them as a number or a sale on their makeup. And even in this fucking apology video, I think she shouts out her own brands at least like 10 or 12 times. I honestly felt like I was just watching a long-winded infomercial or some kind of meta commercial to sell her products or something. It just doesn't sit right with me. If you're gonna apologize for something and you need to mention a brand, just say my company. Why do you have to shout out the fucking brand and what you do and what your mission is? I'm not trying to read the about section on your goddamn vitamin website. Just say, look, this is the company, this is what happened, and I'm sorry. But instead, she goes into this like fucking almost sales pitch like I'm on Shark Tank about to invest in it or something. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it, man. I don't understand. And I don't know why it has to be 40 minutes every time with her. I guess just to milk as much revenue out of it as possible. Couldn't tell you. Have no idea. But I fucking sat through this fucking thing and it felt like a goddamn crime. I honestly feel like wasting someone's time like this, it should be illegal. 40 minutes worth of nothing. Nothing but deflecting blame and insincerely taking responsibility almost in certain areas. I don't know. Makeup community and the beauty community's got some real bad actors in it. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah. What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm making this to say that I'm sorry. I was wrong. I fucked up. Last year, T. Martin made an apology video where he almost kind of apologized for scamming 8-year-olds into wasting money on his shit-ass CSGO website, and I called it the worst apology video that could have ever been made, and I was wrong. Because Social Repos has blown that shit out of the water with this new humdinger here. So this man right here who looks like Marilyn Manson's asshole is a YouTuber by the name of Social Repos, and he was dating another YouTuber named Jacqueline Glynn, and he cheated on her, and obviously she's very upset, so she made a video about the whole situation to update people, and that prompted him to make his own response to it, and it's fucking abysmal. I'm not going to make the bold claim I did last year and say it's the worst that could be ever given on this site, but damn, you're going to have a hard time topping this one. You've got your work cut out for you if you're trying to make a bad apology this year.
Yeah, I fucked up. I'm definitely going to lose some fans. I'm going to lose some friends. Uh, but there's two sides to every story. I wouldn't really call this a defense.
Yeah, you're right. This can't be a defense because there's no way you could defend yourself here. But that doesn't stop him from trying. He's out here looking like the Joker about to deliver a monologue. You want to know how I got this gonorrhea?
So I guess I would like to explain some things. All the brutal graphic details that she explained to everyone. So I'd like to give some very descriptive details of my own. Not to slander Jacqueline or anything, just to kind of, I guess, give you a deeper context.
But why? How could having a deeper understanding of the context provide any type of justification for the cheating? I doubt it was some type of heroic sacrifice where the girl you fucked had a bomb in her pussy that would destroy the city if you didn't defuse it by sticking your cock in there. It really just seems like he's doing this out of spite because Jacqueline went into such brutal detail as he described, so he kind of just did this to try and throw some shit at her that would make her look kind of bad. He actually even deleted her comment on this video. I don't know entirely what the comment said, I just saw a picture of it and I only got a little snippet, but it was her kind of disproving some of the points he's about to make. And naturally, if you're making an apology to someone, the next logical step is then to remove that comment from the person you're apologizing to really let them know that you're sorry.
I do deeply regret it.
Honestly, some pretty shitty acting from him during this arc of the anime. It sounds like some House of the Dead 2 voice acting here.
It kind of was a classic case of social media, showing the best parts of your relationship on social media, so everyone thinks everything's just peaches and roses all the time, and it's just not. It's a lie. We were happy, but there's obviously a dark side to everything, clearly.
I truly have no idea what point he was trying to make with this here. Oh, just a classic case of us showing the best parts. None of you had any ideas I was actually cheating on her behind her back. Just a classic case of one of those things, you know?
Because I did cheat on her, just like I did my ex-girlfriend, which everyone knows about because of our best friend.
I don't really see what there is to giggle about there. Oh, ha ha ha, you guys remember when I did this last time? Thanks to our best friend that blew that case wide open. Ha ha ha, classic best friend. Yeah, I betrayed a lot of people. Ha ha ha.
I met Jacqueline, and she was perfect. She was an atheist. I don't know, she cared so much about me and just everything that I did, and I did care about her. And I don't know, everything just made sense.
I cut a few things out here, but it really served no purpose. I don't even see why he would talk about it unless he was really trying to stretch this video past 10 minutes for ad revenue, which would be an incredibly douchebaggy thing to do, but I wouldn't put it by modern YouTube creators. What he was saying is he vowed never to have another public relationship since he cheated on his last girlfriend, but then he met Jacqueline, obviously had a public relationship, and he also talked about another promise he made a while back where he said he would never ever cheat on anyone ever again, and he was wrong. Just like my father when he said I would be 6'5" when I grew up. My dad is 6'5", my mother is 5'2", so luckily I split the fucking difference and I'm 5'6", so I'm really short for a 23-year-old man, and it really fucking sucks. Why couldn't I be 6 foot, Dad? Huh? Why couldn't I at least get close to your 6'5" towering Chad height? But anyway, I love this line from Social Repos. She was perfect. She was an atheist. What a low bar of entry to being perfect in this man's eyes. In this moment, I am euphoric because girl atheism. Yippee. Fucking, I don't know anything about these two, and I'm sure Jacqueline's a great girl for a lot more than just being an atheist. I imagine there's gotta be a lot more to somebody to make them perfect than just being a fucking atheist. But for some reason, this man cares so little about her, he couldn't think of any more good qualities other than her atheism. That's just fucking sad, really.
And she kind of took me on with the thought that she could fix me, and that, you know, there's a lot of good parts that she saw in me. And you know, I commend her for that, but at the same time, you know, everyone did warn her, and...
What an ironclad defense, fucking bulletproof. Jacqueline, you knew what you were getting into. People warned you. You should have expected this from me. You knew this was going to happen. You shouldn't have been surprised. You knew I was going to put my small pee-pee into other lady buttholes. This shouldn't have come as a surprise. This is your fault. It's incredible. He kind of just blames her for this whole thing happening. You should have expected it. This was going to happen, and people told you.
Unbalance in the relationship even early on, which terrified me, and I could never bring it up to her all the way, we dated for 11 months and I could never talk to her about it just because I was so afraid, because she got so attached to me so quickly. She was just, it's almost like she just, after month 2 or 3, she was like ready to settle down with me and ready to get a house, and it just seemed so perfect. And I was like, what are you doing? What do you...
From the comment Jacqueline left, the snippet I saw, this is the part she was disproving. Apparently this wasn't a thing that happened. It was him that brought up the idea of moving in together or some shit. It doesn't really matter either way who's right or wrong on that subject, because this point is just moot. It serves absolutely no purpose in this video. It looks like this man's skin is about to fall off of his fucking body here. He's like a reptilian shedding here. His flaky, dry skin, I think he's suffering from extreme psoriasis or something, but this man needs some moisturizer ASAP. His face just must be made out of paper mache and it's starting to crack now.
I just would like to say that I'm sorry to anyone that looks up to me or that follows me.
Well, I'm glad you've apologized to the misguided teenagers that for some reason think you're a good role model. That's very nice of you. How about an apology to Jacqueline? At no point throughout this entire thing does he say, I am sorry for what I did, Jacqueline. I didn't hear that phrase. If you're gonna apologize, fucking apologize. Here, take some notes to any of you out there that may have fucked up and are thinking about doing a YouTube apology video. A, don't do that. And B, if you really feel so inclined, that the Lord has chosen you to make this great apology video, then do these things. Actually apologize for it. Say you fucked up and you're going to work on fixing it. Tell how you're going to work on fixing it. And again, apologize for the fucking thing that happened. This man goes on a 10-minute rant about shit that doesn't matter. The next part of this he talks about is content on his channel. Why? What is the point? The video is supposed to be an apology to Jacqueline about what happened. I cut a lot out to this point, but basically he drew the conclusion that he shouldn't be in relationships, he's not good at them. He also speculates that maybe he has a sex problem and should get help, but then says he doesn't believe in getting help. So about 9 minutes of this 10-minute video are just empty, useless words. He could have bent over and just farted into the camera for 9 minutes and it would have had the same impact of the shit he talks about in here. Fucking useless.
And it's clearly I'm a careerist. I'm so deeply entrenched in social repose just as an entity that it comes first. It comes before all my love and relationships and even family to an extent. This is my life. I've chosen it, and I put my all into it.
Oh, you poor hero. All the sacrifices you made to make mediocre YouTube content. Goddamn. My hat's off to you, social repos. If only we Cro-Magnon understood what it meant to be in your shoes, all of the women you've had to fuck behind your girlfriend's back. Damn, we would have so much more appreciation for the art you create here. You certainly are an expert careerist by cheating on a YouTube personality that's pretty fucking big, and then taking all of this negativity to your channel, losing a lot of subs. Man, you've really got careerism figured out, social repos. Take notes out there, any up-and-comers. This man's got it down to a science.
I'm a little hurt that she kind of broadcasted everything. I'm not hurt that she talked about the cheating. I knew she would have to talk about that at some point, but to go into such graphic detail feels a little unnecessary. But it's out there, so.
Oh damn, now I feel bad. He's hurt that she talked about it to such an extent. I mean, there was a set amount that he was okay with and that he would have given his blessing to, but to go past that, that's a bit disrespectful, Jacqueline. You really hurt his feelings with this. I hope you understand. And honestly, he made such a convincing argument, I'm convinced he's the victim in all this. Jacqueline made it all public, and it really hurt his reputation.
Yeah, I guess I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let you guys down. I'm going to do better. I'm going to make more art and more music, and if you don't want to follow me anymore because you think I'm a shitty person, or because I'm disgusting, or because you can't stand the thought of ever watching me again because of what I did to Jacqueline, I can't make you stay, but I promise you I'll do better with my videos and my content, and I'm
Once again, just apologizing to the audience that found out, not to Jacqueline, but at least he's promising to do better with his content, so I'm looking forward to his Minecraft Let's Plays that he's going to steer towards. And yeah, just overall an absolutely atrocious apology here. I cut a lot out, but there was a big rant about the content on his channel and how he was unsatisfied with it, so at least he understood what the big issue here, which was his content starting to slip up, not the cheating. That was just secondary. It's really all about the content, but he's promising to do better content, so Yeah, that's about it. This guy seems like a big douchebag to me. See ya.